to the people of the state of New York, the number of which the House of Representatives is to consist forms another, and a very interesting point of view under which this branch of the federal legislature may be contemplated. Scarce any article, indeed, in the whole Constitution seems to be rendered more worthy of attention by the weight of the character and the apparent force of argument with which it has been assailed. The charges exhibited against it are, first, that so small a number of representatives will be an unsafe depository of the public interest. Secondly, that they will not possess a proper knowledge of the local circumstances of their numerous constituents. Thirdly, that they will be taken from that class of citizens which will sympathize least with the feelings of the mass of the people, be most likely to aim at a permanent elevation of the few on the depression of the many. Fourthly, that defective as the number will be in the first instance, it will be more and more disproportionate by the increase of the people, the obstacles which will prevent a correspondent increase of the representatives. In general, it may be remarked on this subject that no political problem is less susceptible of a precise solution than that which relates to the number most convenient for a representative legislature, nor is there any point on which the policy of the several states is more at variance. Whether we compare the legislative assemblies directly with each other or consider the proportions which they respectively bear to the number of their constituents, passing over the difference between the smallest and largest states, as Delaware, whose most numerous branch consists of 21 representatives, in Massachusetts, where it amounts to between 300 and 400, a very considerable difference is observable among states nearly equal in population. The number of representatives in Pennsylvania is not more than one-fifth of that in the state last mentioned. New York, whose population is to that of South Carolina as 6 to 5, has little more than one-third of the number of representatives, as great a disparity prevails between the states of Georgia, Delaware, Rhode Island, and Pennsylvania. The representatives do not bear a greater proportion to their constituents than of one for every 4 or 5,000. In Rhode Island, they bear a proportion of at least one for every 1,000, and according to the Constitution of Georgia, the proportion may be carried to one for every 10 electors, and must unavoidably far exceed the proportion in any of the other states. Publius, the Federalist, 55, James Madison, New York Independent Journal, February 13th, 1788. February 13th, 1788, New York Independent Journal, Publius, the Federalist, 55, James Madison. James Madison. Another general remark to be made is that the ratio between the representatives and the people ought not to be the same where the latter are very numerous as where they are very few. Were the representatives in Virginia to be regulated by the standard in Rhode Island, they would at this time amount to between 400 and 520 or 30 years hence to 1,000. On the other hand, the ratio of Pennsylvania, if applied to the state of Delaware, would reduce the representatives assembly of the latter to 7 or 8 members. Nothing can be more fallacious than to found our political calculations on arithmetical principles, mathematical principles. 60 or 70 men may be more properly trusted with a given degree of power than 6 or 7.